Hello everyone, I'm Rishali and welcome to the second session of the fourth unit of a power electronics and application. So in this session we are going to learn about the single phase full bridge inverters. So we will discuss single phase full bridge inverter with the resistive load as well as with the inductive load. Along with that we will see the cross conductions happens in these inverters. So let's have a look. This is a single phase full bridge inverter which consists of two pairs of control switches S1 and S2, S3 and S4 and two pairs of diodes D1, D2, D3, D4. So the devices of a one pair operate simultaneously. The voltage across the load E0 will be positive when the switches S1 and S2 are turned on, whereas the voltage across the load will be negative when S3 and S4 are turned on. The diodes D1, D2, D3, D4 are called as a feedback diodes. So we will see the first operation mode, that is when the S1 and S2 are turned on and the voltage across the load is positive. So this is the equivalent circuit. If you imagine this S1 is closed and S2 is closed, these two are open, that means the equivalent circuit will be like this. So same is drawn over here. Now we will see the voltage and current waveforms for it. So this is the equivalent circuit. The switches S1 and S2 conduct simultaneously and the load voltage across the line PQ will be positive EDC. Thus the current will flow from P to Q. As this EDC voltage, positive terminal is here, negative is here, and S1 and S2 are closed, so current will flow in this direction, P to Q. Now we will see the second mode, that is a T2 to T. When S3 and S4 switches are closed, the voltage across the load will be negative E0. So this will be the equivalent circuit. Again you can imagine when S4 and S3 are closed, so this will be the equivalent circuit for second mode of operation. So these are the diagrams. Here you can see. So at T by 2, the switches S3 and S4 are turned on and S1 and S2 are turned off. So the load voltage across this PQ line will be minus EDC, negative voltage, as current flows in this direction, Q to P. And these are the waveforms for the second mode of operation, where the load current is negative, load voltage is also negative, and here S3 and S4 conducts and S1 and S2 are turned off. Now at T is equal to 0, the switches S1 and S2 are turned on. At T is equal to T by 2, switches S3 and S4 are turned on and S1 and S2 are turned off. So at T is equal to T, that is the next cycle, again the S3 and S4 are turned off and S1 and S2 are turned on. So this will continue. As the load is resistive, it does not store any energy in this operation. Therefore the feedback diodes, that is D1, D2, D3 and D4, are not effective here. So regarding circuit analysis, the RMS output voltage is given by E0 RMS is equal to EDC. The Fourier series is given with this expression, summation of 4 EDC by n pi sin n omega t. The fundamental output voltage is given by this expression 2 root 2 by pi into EDC, that is a DC voltage, and the nth harmonic voltage is given by E0 fundamental upon n. Then the transistor switch ratings when VCE is greater than or equal to EDC, the peak current IT is equal to EDC by R, whereas the RMS current will be EDC by root 2R and the average current will be EDC by 2R. So this is all about the single phase full bridge inverter with the resistive load. Now we will see single phase full bridge inverter with the inductive load. So it has the same circuit as resistive load, but here the feedback diodes D1, D2, D3, D4 are effective, which was not in case of resistive load. And this single phase full bridge inverter with the inductive load operates in the 4 modes. So let's have a look. We will see one by one. So these are the 4 modes of operation. The first one is T1 to T2, the second one is T2 to T3, the third one is T3 to T4, and the last one is either T4 to T5 or T0 to T1. So it operates in the 4 modes, and these 4 modes will repeat in the each cycle. The first mode, that is a T1 to T2. In this, at T1 the switches S1 and S2 are turned on, that is, it will form a closed circuit. It is similar to the first mode of a resistive load. So the switches are assumed to be ideal switches. The point P gets connected with the positive terminal of the DC source EDC through the switch S1, and point Q is connected to the negative terminal of EDC through S2. The output voltage E0 will be the positive EDC. Now we will see the waveforms in this T1 to T2 mode. So the load current starts increasing exponentially due to the inductive nature of the load. Here it is shown. This is a triangular waveform is for the load current, and the square waveform is for the load voltage. So here you can see the load current starts increasing exponentially due to the inductive nature of the load. Instantaneous current through S1 and S2 is equal to the instantaneous load current, which is similar to that of load current. During this interval, energy is stored in the inductive load. Now about the second mode of operation. At T2, the switches S1 and S2 are turned off, that is, it will be the open circuit. So, due to the inductive nature of load, the load current does not reduce to zero instantaneously. There is a self-induced voltage across the load which maintains the flow of current in the same direction. Thus, the polarity of voltage is exactly opposite to that of the first mode, and this E0 will be minus EDC. But the load current continues to flow in the same direction through the D3 and D4. Now we will see the waveforms. For T2 to T3, the stored energy in the load inductance is returned back to the source. Here you can see it is a 0. The load current decreases exponentially and goes to 0 at instant T3. All the energy stored in the load is returned back to the supply by the feedback diodes. So here you can see the load current decreases exponentially and goes to 0 at T3 as mentioned over here, and the energy stored in the load is returned back to the supply by the D3 and D4 diodes, which are turned off at T3. These are called as feedback diodes. Then in the third mode of operation, at T3, the switches S3 and S4 are turned on now. S3 and S4. So the load voltage remains negative in the third mode of operation, where E0 is equal to minus EDC. But the direction of load current will now reverse. The current increases exponentially in the other direction, and load again stores the energy. This we will see in terms of waveforms. So the load voltage remains negative, as I said, E0 is equal to minus EDC, but the direction of load current will reverse. For the first mode T1 to T2, it was positive and in this direction. Now T3 to T4, for the third mode, the direction will be in the reverse manner. And again, load stores the energy in this third mode. And in the fourth mode, that is the last mode, either you can take T0 to T1 or T4 to T5. In this case, the switch S3 and S4 are turned off. The load inductance tries to maintain the load current in the same direction by inducing the positive load voltage. This will forward bias the diodes D1 and D2. The load energy is returned back to the input DC supply by these feedback diodes. So the load voltage becomes negative. E0 is equal to minus EDC. So during this fourth mode T0 to T1 or T4 to T5, the load current remains negative and decreases exponentially towards the 0. Here you can see it is decreases and becomes 0. At T1 or T5 you can see the load current goes to 0. Switches S1 and S2 can be turned on again, and the conduction period with the very highly inductive load will be T by 4 or 90 degree and T by 2 or 180 degree. So this is all about the 4 modes of operation of a single phase full bridge inverter with the inductive load. Now we will see the circuit analysis. The RMS output voltage can be obtained from this expression. E0 RMS is equal to square root of 2 by T by 2 integration over 0 to T by 2, as the period is 0 to T by 2, and E square dt. So E0 RMS will be EDC. The instantaneous output voltage can be expressed in the Fourier series in this form: summation of 4 EDC by n pi sin n omega t. The output voltage waveform contains only odd harmonic components, 3, 5, 7, like that. The even harmonic components are automatically cancelled in this case. Then the RMS value of fundamental component is given by this expression, 4 EDC by root 2 pi. After solving this, simplifying the 4 by root 2 pi will be 0.9. So even RMS, the fundamental component of RMS, will be 0.9 EDC. For the RL load, the equation for the instantaneous current I0 is given by this: summation 4 EDC by n pi in square root r square plus n omega l square into sin n omega t minus theta n, where square root of r square n omega l square is a Zn, that is the impedance offered by the load to the nth harmonic component, and the 4 EDC by n pi, this will be the peak amplitude of nth harmonic voltage, and the theta n here is nothing but the tan inverse of B by A, that is n omega L divided by R. So now we will see the cross conduction happens in these inverters. At any particular instant, one switch is turned on and other is turned off. However, the outgoing switch does not turn off instantaneously due to the finite turn-off delay. What does that mean? When the both switches are turned on simultaneously. Not exactly, but when the one switch is turned on and other is turned off, due to the finite turn-off delay of this first switch which is getting turned off, it will remain turned on for some time when this next switch is turned on. So this is the case when both switches are turned on, and which may cause the cross conduction in inverters. So due to this, both switches, that is incoming and outgoing, conduct simultaneously for a short time. This is known as cross conduction or a shoot-through fault. The input DC supply is short-circuited, which causes the switches gets damaged. So to avoid this, allowing the outgoing switch to turn off completely first is the one way, and then applying the gate drive to the incoming device. So the another way is introducing the dead band or delay in between the trailing edge of a base drive of an outgoing device and the leading edge of a base drive of an incoming device. So I will show you with the waveforms. Here you can see this is the S1 and S2 switch. So introducing the dead time or delay in between these two will avoid the cross conduction. So during the dead band interval, no device receives the base drive. Hence, the dead band should be greater than the turn off time of a power device. In this way, we can avoid the cross conduction that happens in the inverter. So thank you, stay home, stay safe, and happy e-learning.